Getting close. There's still time for me to watch a few more horror movies to try to give y'all the best of the year part 2 list. But before that, we gotta talk about the... Duty! Yeah, that's the word. The duty of the year. Part 2. And safe to say, I'm gonna spoil these ones. Also, if there's some poopy movies that are not mentioned here, it's because I didn't see them. And I'm not apologizing for not seeing more garbage movies. And these movies I'm about to list are not fun bad. Fun bad movies are on my underrated list on my channel. The movies here are not fun to watch. They are poorly made, poorly thought through, boring, whatever. Anyways, let's get terribly spooky. In the Lost Lands.
If you've got the time and the stomach for it, I've got a story for you.
Can someone please tell me why Mila Jovovich is an action star? Seriously, she looks like she weighs 80 pounds soaking wet and has never lifted a weight in her life, and yet she stars in gobs of action roles. I genuinely don't get it. All of her stuff is shot in slow motion, and it looks as lazy as this guy is fat.
Where's your shitter? I've got a turtle head poking out.
Yeah, this movie starts off as cheesy as it gets too. Let me tell you a story. Yeah, how about you suck the fattest part of my ass and then I'll think about listening to your story. This movie is like 95% CGI. There's no way any of these actors spent a full day on a real set that didn't have a green screen on it. There is also a lot of horse riding because it's a journey kind of story, but they didn't want to spend any real money on horses or ask the actors to do anything slightly dangerous, so every time they are on a horse, it's a close-up shot on their faces, shoulders, and their head just bobs. There's a surprising amount of action, which would be fun, but literally every kill or hit is in slow motion and it gets old real fast. And it's not 100% slow motion like in 300, it's normal speed until someone dies or gets hit, which is like a teenager's idea of what a cool action movie would look like. It shouldn't be surprising to hear that this movie is mostly tell and not show, which makes it feel like it's a rush job, which I don't get. This world or story idea is fairly vast, so if it was done well, it could have easily been the first in a series, but since they rushed it, it's like they didn't even care. And going back to my first complaint, the movie starts off with a "let me tell you the story" line, but at the end, you find out that the guy telling the story is the second main character. Telling this all to the main character.
Huh? What? Are you fucking kidding me?
They have been together pretty much this entire movie. So the guy is basically recapping the last 3 days to a chick he spent the last 3 days with. Fucking why? Also, he told things that he couldn't have possibly known because he and she weren't there, so fuck knows how that works. Terrible, rushed, lazy fantasy adventure movie that has a werewolf and some demons in it. That's how it ended up on my horror radar. Ed Kemper.
Kind of out here all by yourself, aren't you? You know, I don't want to scare you or anything, but you know, some pretty horrible things have been happening.
Ed Kemper is about the real serial killer, but I am too fucking lazy to look up if this accurately portrays what he really did or how it all went down. This, to some people, could be a so bad it's good movie. Like, the bones are there, but mostly, to me, it's just a poorly made, low-budget movie. It's not, like, very entertaining, and the narrative from the main character isn't very drawing. Like, even though we see his rough childhood, I do not feel for this guy in any sense of the word. He doesn't have any moment where I like him or even really could potentially like an aspect of him. The tone for this movie is also not very clear. For some scenes, you can tell that they were trying to make it lighthearted and jokey, but it wasn't very lighthearted and jokey. And when it's dark, it's not really that dark. Since I'm not a film director high on his own farts, I'm not sure if the main issue is the dialogue or the music or how the scenes are shot. That is fucking with the tone of the scenes, but the tone is off. Even if you're a true crime nut and want to see a movie based on Ed Kemper, I'd still not recommend this one. Also, fair warning, if SA is a sensitive subject for you, steer clear from this flick. The Forest Clown.
Magic drink!
This is clearly an indie flick, and that means I probably should cut it some slack.
Nah.
If they don't want to hear sarcastic criticism from a bottom 1% YouTuber, how are they ever gonna learn from their mistakes? The Forest Clown is a supernatural clown who used to be a normal kid origin kind of story. We get to know our clown as a kid, but when every terrible thing under the sun happens to him, we jump to the present. His childhood friend is still a good, decent person, and his former bully becomes a good guy who is actually a bad guy. You've seen this story several times before. Is that the problem with the movie? Not really. Even the humor is fairly good. But this is a classic case of biting off more than you can chew for your first project.
Riley Brennan is now missing. She was last seen in Shelby Oaks.
Whoa. Don't know why that popped up. These guys did an eye rip out scene and clearly didn't have the budget for it. The clown isn't street magic savvy. This guy is a fucking wizard and they didn't have the budget for it. Also, the acting from the main guy is pretty bad. He does have that twist, and maybe the actor was trying to portray that during his scenes where he's supposed to be like a normal, recently changed guy, but it just comes across as bad acting. For the next movie they make, keep it simple and more easily doable, like milk and cereal.
What does that mean?
There's shit in my pants.
Call of the Void. Call of the Void is a cosmic horror in the woods kind of movie, which is an idea that I love, but this is the shit list, so this was a real bummer. It's about a chick who goes to a cabin in the woods, but they are rental cabins and some of them are set up side to side. Her neighbors are super friendly, and when they invite her to do shit, weird shit happens. The friendly neighbors are music people, and the first significant thing we see them do is play a song, and it goes on for like an entire song, which doesn't happen normally unless you're watching a fucking musical. And just in case you were curious, this is not a musical. So this song part goes on for way too long, and it makes you scratch your head and ask, why? Why is this song so damn important that we have to hear the whole thing? Throughout the movie, you can tell they wanted it to be like really artsy with their idea, and some shots prove that, and I think that was the logical route doing a cosmic horror movie in the woods. But here's the thing, you can't skimp on the horror.
Obviously.
This movie doesn't know how to do horror. I don't know if it's the sounds, or the timing, or both, or maybe something else, but whenever a creepy or scary moment is either building or has arrived, it comes and goes like a silent fart. There's no oomph to it, so they just never stick and it just passes. Like said silent fart. This movie lacks a lot of music to help with its emotion, and what's funny about that is that there's a character in this movie whose personality is basically just like, he's just a big sound guy.
Ironic.
In the movie, characters turn because of a cult-like thing or something, and our main chick being the last one to turn ends up being super abrupt, and a few scenes after she turns, which is the finale, is lame as shit. This is a very boring movie, and I don't even really get the why for this plot, unless I missed it, because I was so bored.
Oh, sick burn.
The only positives of Call of the Void is a few humorous moments, and the main chick has a nice bod that she likes to show off a little.
Nice.
Look out.
Why are you dragging this out? I know you're here.
Lookout is a contained movie about a forest ranger being in a fire lookout tower by herself for, I think, a month. A meteor crashes and I think it turns people into aliens. Not sure if it's like a Venom thing where it's like a parasite that takes control over a host, or it just gives people powers and they want more, or it just turns them into different things. It's really not very well explained.
That's not a good start, but keep going.
The movie takes forever for the good stuff to happen, and even when the good stuff starts, it's not much. The villain is shit, and after he kills a guy, our chick has the drop on him with a crossbow, and she doesn't shoot him.
What, are you retarded?
Also, we got the classic unexplained powers here. The villain either has super speed or can teleport. They never actually pick one and stick with it. Great. Also, everything is shot during the day, so the scare factor really isn't there. So the villain's goal is to get more meteor rocks, because I guess they make him stronger, or he has a goal to collect them all like fucking Pokemon? I don't know. But he knows where they are, so he can clearly sense them, but our main chick is still able to trick him by using a fake rock.
What, are you retarded?
Also, just having the rock on you gives you powers. The villain had it on him and got powers. Our girl had it for just as long as he did, never gets powers. This movie is all over the place and the quality makes sense because it's a straight to Tubi movie. Rosario.
Sí, abuela. Hello?
Your grandma, she's no longer with us. She passed.
Rosario is about a hot chick going to an apartment where her grandmother suddenly passed away, and when she gets there, spooky shit happens, and she tries to solve the mystery of her grandmother, what really happened in the history of her family. Lots of similar movies like this. There's The Vigil, which is a Jewish horror movie that was pretty good, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe has some similar aspects to it as well. But Rosario fucks up a bit with how it does its mystery searching. Like, our chick finds essentially a fucking cave inside her grandma's coat closet in an apartment building. If she was on the ground floor, maybe you could make that make sense, but she's a few floors up. How does this work? Does she have 2 apartments? And when Rosario finds the place, she doesn't react at all. She just walks through like it's not surprising to find a fucking witch cave in her grandmother's coat closet.
You serious, Clark?
Also, we don't really get to know Rosario enough before shit hits the fan, so when things are a bit rough for her, I don't really care that much. Also, since she is the only person in the apartment, and also the only person on screen for 90% of the movie, these tension-building moments or these scares, they feel kinda hollow. Also, the main focus in this movie is a big curse that we never see the origin of. We are just told it, so it also doesn't help connect you with the story or the characters. And the curse turns out to be a blessing or a deal with the devil kind of thing, which 1, wasn't surprising, but 2, would guarantee to fuck over the daughter in the end. That's like something you do to your enemy, not your kid. The scares aren't hitting well, probably a sound issue, but they're also all just jump scares. Also, the movie made me think that it was about to wrap up, and then I checked the time.
Big mistake.
We still had another half hour left. We get a happy ending, but it turns bad, and then sappy ending, and then bad again. Make up your fucking mind. This is one of my least favorite things I am seeing a lot in movies lately. Movies having 3 endings or more does nothing but make it drag and make me hate it. Wind and Bone. Wind and Bone is a Wendigo story, and a shit one at that. It's got that old, lame, choppy, slow-mo effect. Characters who should be screaming at moments of seeing a monster but don't is nothing but retarded. Terrible CGI, flashbacks for our main character that come out of nowhere, that never really go anywhere. Not good acting, taking hours to realize that members of their small group are missing. But you know what? Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who would notice in a group of 4, there's only 3 of us, and it's been hours, and we already know there's a monster afoot.
Nah.
I didn't even understand the ending, and yeah, I'm keeping this one short, because holy fuck, with this movie, I couldn't wait for it to be over. The Shrouds.
When they lowered my wife into the coffin, I had an intense urge to get into the box with her.
You know what? I think it's official. I am not a David Cronenberg fan.
How dare you!
And I think it's because his movies keep getting classified as horror, but his movies are as scary as a horoscope.
Ooh, scary newspaper. Don't hurt me, horoscope. I'm afraid. Ow! Oh! Paper cut! Paper cut!
So The Shrouds is titled as such because in the movie, the main guy invents these shrouds that he wraps corpses in so that rich people can go to the grave sites of their loved ones, look at the screen that is their loved ones' tombstones, and watch their bodies decay. Yeah, I don't really get the appeal here. Like, if it was just a screen that did a montage of their favorite pics and vids of the recently deceased, that makes sense. And I could understand a market for that. But for this guy to be super rich, even opens a fucking cafe at his graveyard, if you can believe it. But for this guy to be super rich because he gives constant updates to families and friends of the visual aspect of their dearly departed decaying, like, who the fuck would pay for that?
Dan's a
Huh. The only scary bits about this movie is the main guy having dreams or visions of his wife before she passed. She had some sort of bone-rotting disease, and we see scenes of her entering into their bedroom with more surgical scars and missing limbs every time we get a vision, and that's it. The main story focuses on people who vandalized a few of his graves, and he tries to figure out who did it, and it doesn't really lead to anything that interesting. We do get something interesting with his sister-in-law's former husband, but that turned out to be a big fucking lie, and the movie just ends with our guy moving on with his life. Ooh, I'm so scared. Fuck off. These are dramas with a little bit of body horror, and that's horror in the lowest of lowercase letters possible. Abraham's Boys, a Dracula story.
I've known for a long time that it might come.
Okay, so this movie takes place 18 years after Dracula's death. Abraham married Mina Parker after the whole ordeal, and they fled to California to help her. We later find out that Abraham killed Jonathan Harker, Mina's first husband, because he was a vamp. He also killed 13 other people.
Not bad.
So he teaches his boys to be strong so that they can fight off the evil that he thinks has followed them to California.
It's time to join the club.
Sorry, wrong movie. So most of this movie is talking about the evil that's coming, but it's only coming in their dreams.
Giggity. What? Nothing, it's stupid.
Okay, in all seriousness, this movie is boring as fuck. It's a classic tale of the older sibling being raised up to believe their dad's stories, but now doesn't believe them. The biggest problem is that the inciting incident of the movie, the mother's death, doesn't happen until the end of Act 2. And spoiler alert, there were never any vampires. The dad is just a crazy fuck who is able to convince a lot of people that there's evil in the world and the only way to get rid of it is a stake through the heart. They kind of try to play out the mind fuck of maybe he is crazy and maybe he isn't, but they do this with literally one scene and that's it. It's also not even that much of a mind fuck. And the movie ends very blandly with the obvious ending of the son's killing the dad because he has just gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. This movie is just a nothing burger trying to do something mildly different with the Dracula tale. Hell House LLC Lineage. Holy fuck, this movie pissed me the fuck off. Hell House LLC Lineage is the 5th and worst installment of the franchise, and that's saying something, because this franchise really isn't full of bangers. The first was aight, the second and third were kinda eh, the fourth is The Golden Child.
My brother's forgiven me. Key, Dr. Hung, Brother Numsi has forgiven me.
And then we get this shit, the only one in the franchise that isn't shot found footage. So I did a breakdown of all these films while also ranking them, link in the description. But basically it's a series based on these haunted locations, and the locations are haunted because there was a cult of Satan worshippers that weren't fucking around with their worship. They took many lives, made deals with the devil, opened a portal to hell, but the most common things about the franchise are ghosts haunting individual locations, turning mannequins of clowns to life, and possessing people for brief but also long periods of time. This movie is shit, because the scares are mostly shit, it answers very few questions, opens up way more questions than it should have, and ended on the biggest fuck you of cliffhangers. It might as well have said, tune in till next time to find out how the story ends.
No!
I'm honestly so burned by this movie that I kinda hope that we never find out the conclusion and that they never make another one of these movies again. Also, this is not a story that needs more than 5 installments. Could have wrapped it up in 3, but they wanted to keep it going, which is odd because the third movie wasn't great, but since the fourth breathed new life into the franchise, it makes sense that they would release a 5th. It's just retarded that they followed a new lead who was a lead in the third movie that nobody cares about and didn't finish the Hell House story. The Strangers Chapter 2. This is another fuck you sequel. I did a very long breakdown of this turd sandwich, link in the description, but this is a sequel to a movie that wasn't very good.
That's not a good start, but keep going.
It was practically a shot-for-shot remake that was mostly just a worst version of it. In this movie, holy fuck, I don't know what the game plan was here. It's just a cat and mouse movie of our girl going from a place to a car to a place to another car to another place to another car, and then the movie ends.
That's a great movie.
It also gives us a backstory to some silent killers that I know nobody gives a shit to know. Who do they think they are? Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Good to you, Mikey.
Underrated movie in my opinion. Anyways, The Strangers Chapter 2 is wholeheartedly a filler movie. Why? I genuinely don't know, and I'm sure that I will be the only person in the theaters for the third movie, just like I was for the first and the second. Vicious.
Ali. How do you know my name?
Vicious is the latest terrible horror-related decision made by Dakota Fanning.
Oh, sick burn.
She didn't make the movie, but she did decide to star in it.
Big mistake.
I did a longer review on this one, linked in the description, but this is surface level haunted object bullshit. It's a box of ghosts that fuck with her until she gives pieces of herself to it. But even if you follow its hints, the box is a bit of a dick, so sometimes it tricks her deliberately, which I don't know why or how that makes sense, and you just end up pining it off to some other poor asshole, but apparently even then, it still won't let you go. It's a pointless movie that doesn't really tell any compelling story about the characters you give a shit about. Halloween candy.
Trick or treat! Are you home alone?
Yeah, why do you ask?
Because there's someone in your house.
Halloween Candy is a low-budget horror anthology movie. It stars a chick who kinda looks like Xena Warrior Princess. And I'm like 96% sure that that was the reason she was cast as a lead role. The first story she writes about is a haunted house manager who acts like a gangster, which is pretty laughable. Like, haunted houses are seasonal, they don't make that much money. So the idea of him protecting what should be hundreds of dollars is just odd. And the story ends with him being stuck in a cage in his own haunted house. Ooh, I'm so scared. Shitty acting on top of all of it too. The second story is a kid kidnapper, and the kid who gets napped ends up being a monster. Who cares? The third story is called Talking to the Dead, and it's so pointless and boring, I almost forgot what even happened because I didn't even have that much written down in my notes. But it's a few friends sitting in a circle and one of them is a ghost, but there was no build up or really any clues to them being a ghost, and it just ends with a scary look at the camera.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
The fourth story is Pumpkin Night. A guy kills his wife and then buries her in the garden midday, with a few of her fingers sticking out. Jeez, this is rough. Okay, later that night he gets attacked by a plain pumpkin. It's not even carved. Holy fuck, these creators are cheap. He gets his eye taken out, and the story ends. Story 5 is Coroween. I think it's a series of people scaring each other, and it ends up killing one of them. I don't know, my notes are of no help, though the odds that this movie could be redeemed in Story 5 are slim to none.
Oh, sick burn.
Story 6 is about a guy with a mute date, and the date turns out to be a serial killer. This one was actually not terrible. Had a nice little twist, though it's not super original. But since this is a shitting on movies list, I will say that it was pretty funny that the guy was gloating about his special candy. But when you look closer, it's just regular named brand shit like a Tootsie Roll. Fucking weirdo. The movie ends and explains what the framing story is. Our writer tied up, I think, a stepdaughter or something in her basement, and her name is Candy, hence the name of the movie. But it ends shit-like, which is not surprising, and my notes aren't much help, but this movie has gotten more attention in my vid shitting on it than it deserves. Sorry, makers of Halloween candy, do better. The blade cuts deeper.
I just tell stories.
This was a mistake.
Oh! Ouch, kabibble!
I watched this movie because I was looking for something to review 1 week before I started doing my list vids of the year, and it was either this or another low-budget indie movie, and I practically flipped a coin and chose The Blade Cuts Deeper. But I ended up being busy with other shit and couldn't do a review that week, so I essentially paid to watch this one for nothing, and it ended up being on the shit list, so you tell me if it was worth it.
Nah.
In my defense, the early reviews were very positive, but you really gotta keep an eye on that review count. If it's less than 50, maybe 100, and it's all positive, you should remain skeptical. They could literally all be friends of everyone who was part of making the movie. The Blade Cuts Deeper is about a TV show based on true crime. Very popular show, and right before they do their series finale, the husband of one of the victims of the killers they are making a profit on gets the bright idea to kill the lot of them. And since this is in Britain, where they even outlaw kitchen knives, it shouldn't be surprising that he does fairly well.
Oh, sick burn.
Some of the victims in this movie are a serial killer's wet dream. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine making a plan to take out several people and right before it happens, they see you, are in shock, and never scream.
You serious, Clark?
Yeah, the problems don't stop there. The tension-building moments take way too long, the heartbeat effect lasts so long that it gets old, and there's no way anyone would care about any of these characters. There's one nice guy, and when he dies, yeah, I felt a little tingle, but the rest, I was practically flatlining. This movie taught me that if you want a tension-building moment, you need characters people like. If you don't care, there's no tension. Also, I'll never forget this part. It just shows that there are some creators or writers or whatever that don't have enough life experiences. So there's this part, a chick calls the British version of 911, and the operator's first question is, who is the killer?
What? Oh, come on!
Shouldn't your first question be, where are you? And the dumb bimbo never gives an address. I was actually glad she didn't survive. She didn't fucking deserve it. This movie also commits a terrible sin, being a mystery slasher where there is a reveal for the killer, and it means nothing. Yeah, sure, in movies like Hush, when the killer takes off his masks, you don't get like that Scooby-Doo feeling of course, it was that guy. In Hush, the mask reveal showed us, and his potential victim, that he didn't give a fuck if she could ID him. In this movie, we never knew this guy, so when his mask was taken off, I could not care less. We get scenes of him wearing a locket of a victim in an episode of the show the movie is based around, and that showed us that his wife was a victim, but we never saw the real crime happening, so this reveal is pointless. And the main dick boss of the movie makes a retard move that'll only end terribly for him. He either pushes or gets the killer to fall backwards and crack his head on some pavement, and then his head starts to bleed out. And I'm here like, okay, good. Killer is out, and the police are right outside the door. You are in the clear. But he's all, nope, and he goes over and bashes his skull in with the radio. Dude, what are you doing? He's already down. All you're doing is sending yourself to prison. I'm sure there are plenty of other reasons to shit on this film, but I'm done. Thanks for watching. I got one more vid till the year is over. Hopefully this list steers you away from these movies if you were thinking of watching them. Maybe you even had a little bit of fun listening. And hopefully you'll be able to spend your time on something that's actually spooky.